Hey everyone, yes it's me, hello, and today we're going to be ranking the top 5 hardest CTR developer time trial tracks. Now, going off my attempt counter alone, these are the top 5 hardest tracks that I've faced so far. And yes, deep sea driving was a painful 117 attempts. But is this list actually what I think? Let's find out. Just wanted to say that this is my own personal list, so yours may differ from mine, or they might be exactly the same. So please let me know down in the comments below, and let's get on with it. Starting off the list at number 5, we have Out of Time. This particular track didn't give me too much issue. It only took me personally around 13 attempts, but I really think this map is a testament of determining who is a skilled player. Being able to keep blue fire and consistently do the shortcuts for 3 laps isn't really an easy thing to do. So for all of you that have beaten this track, I acknowledge you, my friends, as skilled players. The crazy thing about this track is that William P, yes I know, the William P isn't actually that crazy fast in this track. He takes some wide lines, and if you're good enough, you can keep ahead of him from the very start after the first fence jump. So the main trick to this map is just keeping blue fire and having enough reserves and making sure you don't hit any imaginary walls, especially after the second shortcut. Or even where you just lose blue fire on this spot, and I swear I have enough reserves. I should not be losing blue fire here, but for some reason you end up losing it. Happened to me a few times in my run. And I mean, every player is different, and even though it didn't take me that long personally to do Out of Time, I definitely think this map should be on the list. Next up, we have Slide Colosseum. Now, Slide Colosseum was the first tough map that I actually faced. I felt like I couldn't catch up to William P at all. Like, look how fast he's going from the very beginning. And for me, I couldn't catch up to him until the very last lap, where I was just fast enough to get ahead of him. Slide Colosseum is a particularly difficult map because there's no real trick to it. There's no fancy shortcuts that you can take. Smart lines, very efficient lines, and maintain your fire as much as you can. Because if you lose that, then you're going to lose the entire race. And William P is honestly a beast in this track. And it took me a while to get it. It took me 16 attempts, but Slide Colosseum was surprisingly really difficult because I remember in all the other tracks, Velo, Oxide, Slide Colosseum was a breeze. It wasn't any trouble at all. But as soon as William PTSD comes out, this map comes into the top 5 list easily. So for anyone who's defeated Slide Colosseum, you're definitely a good player, and I'd watch out for you in the online lobbies. Next up, we have the dreaded Dragon Mines. Now this map was always tough. It was always tough to do this map. I remember doing Oxide for the first time, and this map was definitely difficult. This map was the last map I did on the Oxide time trials because it just seemed impossible. Once you learn how to U-turn, it's pretty easy against Velo. You don't need to take the shortcut. But my god, William P takes the freaking insane shortcut that I've never done before, and this took me 42 attempts to do. This shortcut was so painful and I screwed up so many times. And doing this 3 times in a row, because William P does it 3 times in a row, is nuts. And during this race, I was always neck and neck with William P, and I could only just edge it out in the last lap maybe. But Dragon Mines is for sure a difficult map, and I don't know how many times I wanted to give up. But Dragon Mines is by far one of the hardest maps in all of Crash Team Racing Nitro field. I think it deserves to be on number 3 in my list because with this map you need to do the shortcut consistently and you need to have such good lines to be able to beat William P. Now it was really tough for me to choose between first and second for me. It was quite tough. And coming in at number 2 is going to be Deep Sea Driving. And I know, how could a track that took me 117 attempts to beat not be number 1? Well, it's simple, because I genuinely think that if I were to retry Deep Sea Driving, I could do it in under 10 attempts. I'm serious, I can do it. You don't believe me? Roll the clip. I said roll the clip. Alright, take it easy, I'm rolling the clip. Here you go. I can't believe I'm doing this again. Alright, under 10 attempts, I promised you. Oh, easy. I should go to the left on the second one. Alright, I get it. I'm a little slow. That's alright. Damn, I'm a little slow. Holy fuck, man. Think! Two more to go. Alright, one more, that's it. I can't believe I'm doing this again. Why would I put myself through this torture just for a video? Again. And there you go. And a new personal best. Back to you. So yeah, number 2 is deep sea driving. And yeah, I know you might say, but 117 attempts, my most attempts on a map ever, how is this not number 1? Well, as I just demonstrated in the video, once you have a strategy for deep sea driving, this map really isn't difficult at all. Once you understand the cycles of the blades and you can consistently go to that tube, it becomes simple. And as I showed you, I have a strategy for this map now, and it took me under 10 attempts. I couldn't not include it in the top 5 list, but I also couldn't make it number 1 for me. And these blades, my god, it was horrible. I hated it. I hated the heck out of these blades. It caused me so much frustration. But as I said, again, once you sort of find what feels comfortable for you and what's right for you, whether it's you turning, hugging the right side of the tube, or drifting, as you can see how I did, because once again, it's quite an easy track to keep blue fire. You're not going to lose it unless you screw up your U-turning, as I did a lot in the tube. So if you're a skilled U-turner, this map should be simple for you. But with 117 attempts, I simply had to include it in my top 5 list. And coming in at number 1, the hardest developer time trial in this entire freaking game was Turbotrack. And I mean, I swear I was losing my mind doing Turbotrack. It just felt impossible because all the time trials that I've seen other people do, the ones that I did, William OP is ahead of you the entire time. I was only able to edge him out when he screws up at the very end. That was the only time that I had a break, that there was a shimmer of light at the end of this tunnel and I could beat him. In order to do Turbotrack, you had to literally master U-turning. You couldn't screw up at all. It had to be pitch perfect. It had to be frame perfect to beat William P. I am exaggerating there, but this track was honestly so difficult, and in terms of replayability, I think it would honestly take me another 30-40 attempts to try and do this map again. Unlike deep sea driving, where I can consistently sort of find the technique that works for me, Turbotrack, you just have to honestly be so good at the game to consistently do this map. And that's why, without a doubt, Turbotrack is definitely the hardest map for me, and hopefully for a lot of you out there. Just before we end this video, I wanted to mention some honorable mentions that didn't quite make it onto the list. My first is Papu's Pyramid. It took me 36 attempts or 37 attempts, I believe. And honestly, it's just that square bit that gets you the most trouble. Just making sure you obtain Sacred Fire from that very first turbo pad was quite hard to do. Other than that, once you nail that down, Papu's Pyramid is pretty simple. He doesn't take that massive shortcut over the grass as the world records do. And next on my list of honorable mentions is Drive Through Danger. Actually surprisingly difficult. The dev is extremely fast in that map. The track is quite difficult as well. I didn't think I'd have too much trouble. I didn't. It only took me about 16 or 15 attempts, if I recall. So congrats to everyone that's finished the developer times, and I hope to see you in the online lobbies flexing those wheels. I'll see you in the next one.